If you're new to gardening, you need to know 3 things before you plant anything: your hardiness zone, your first and last frost date, and a planting chart. I'm going to show you exactly how to find all 3 of these things. Hi, my name is Andrea, and this is Andrea's One Stop Garden. Now let's get started. First, hardiness zone. Check out this clip on hardiness zones and where to find what your zone is.
This part is really simple. Go to Google and type in plant maps and your location. Plant Maps covers the US and Canada, much of Europe, and several countries across Asia, Africa, and the Southern Hemisphere, so most of you should be able to find your area. I'm in British Columbia, Canada, so I'll click on the top link for British Columbia Interactive Plant Hardiness Zone Map. Right away, you will see a color-coded map showing the different grow zones across the province. If you scroll down, there's also a list of larger cities and areas. Now, if you don't see your specific town listed, don't worry. You can go back up to the map and zoom in to find it. For example, I noticed that in the Okanagan, Lumbee isn't on the main list. Zooming in, you'll see Lumbee is a zone 4B, whereas zooming out a bit, the surrounding areas are mostly 6A, and further east gets into 7A. Parts of Vernon fall into Zone 7A, while some areas of Vernon are 6B. You'll also notice little colder pockets like Enderby and Armstrong showing as Zone 4. So don't just rely on the main city. Zoom in closely and find your exact location. That's your hardiness zone, and this tells you what plants can survive your winters.
Now that you know what your hardiness zone is, the next thing you're going to want to know is your first and last frost date. Check out this little tool that Farmer's Almanac has and how you find out what your first and last frost date is.
To find out when your first and last frost date is, you're going to go into Google and search first and last frost date by Farmer's Almanac. You're going to get this first link. You click that link and it will bring up this page right here. So if you're in the United States, you can either enter your city and state or your zip code. If you're in Canada, you can enter your city and province or your postal code. So for people in the Okanagan, say they live in Kelowna, British Columbia, they would type in Kelowna, BC, and they would find out, oh, my last spring frost is May 8th. First fall frost is October 6th, giving me a 150-day growing season. Whereas it's going to be far different if you live way up north in, say, Whitehorse, Yukon Territory, where it's only a zone 1B. You're going to have your last spring frost being June 12th, your first fall frost being August 24th, giving you only a 72-day growing season. Knowing your first and last frost date is important for determining the safe window to start seeds indoors for transplanting seedlings and to maximize your growing season. It also separates your cold crops from your warm season crops, knowing when not to plant out your seedlings so you're not putting something out too early.
Now that you know what your hardiness zone is and what your first and last frost date is, now you're going to want to know when to plant your seeds or when to transplant your plants. How do you find that out? Farmer's Almanac has another fantastic tool I like to use, which is a planting chart. This is how to find that.
Go to Google and type in planting calendar, Farmer's Almanac, and your area. You then go to this screen, and like the frost chart, you type in either your city, your state, or your zip code, postal code. For example, I'm doing Kelowna, BC. Just type in Kelowna, BC, and it gives you a whole guide on planting for spring planting, fall planting, and lets you know when to start your seeds inside for a various type of seeds in alphabetical order, and planting your seedlings outside, transplanting, starting your seeds outdoors for, say, root crops, and last date to plant certain items outside.
Now that you know your hardiness zone, your first and last frost date, and have found a planting chart tool that is going to help you know when to plant your seeds or when to transplant your plants into the ground, now you need to find what seeds you want to plant for your area. If you live in, say, a zone 1, like I used to, you're not going to want to plant something that has a higher days to maturity, as it's just not going to work for your zone. For example, for tomatoes, you want to have something that is going to have a low maturity date, something around 55 to 65 days for zone 1. Find more determinate tomatoes versus indeterminate tomatoes. If you want to know the difference between that, I have another video on my channel that you can find on what the difference is between indeterminate and determinate tomatoes. So for tomatoes, for example, for zone 1, stuff like Roma tomatoes or New Yorker are going to work for your grow zone, as they are between 65 days for this one, and New Yorker is also 65 days. For cherry tomatoes, Red Robin is a good determinate. That's one of my favorites. It's only 55-day tomato. And then Baxter Cherry is also a determinate tomato that has a lower number as well. Whereas if you're in zone 6, which I am now, you're going to be able to grow indeterminate tomatoes that have longer growing times, like Brandywine, which is 85 days. Mushroom Basket, which is one of my absolute favorite tomatoes to grow, is a 95-day tomato. And there's other ones like Chadwick Cherry, which is 80 to 90 days, or Silvery Fir Tree, for example. I really like growing. You can also grow it in a lower grow zone, as it's only a 58-day tomato. Well, there you have it. Now you know your hardiness zone, your first and last frost date, and know where to find a planting chart that is going to help you plant your seeds or transplant your plants from the nursery at the appropriate timing. I hope you have a fantastic 2026 growing season, and thank you for watching. If you like this video and would like to see more videos like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.